We've waited 4 full years for the successor to Fujifilm's X-H1, and we just got 2 impressive models. One is the highest resolution APS-C camera yet, the 40 megapixel X-H2. The other is the one we're looking at today, the 26 megapixel X-H2S, and the S stands for speed. The X-H2S is the first APS-C camera with a stacked sensor, and that adds a bunch of benefits. You can shoot at up to 40 frames per second at full resolution, autofocus is faster, and rolling shutter is heavily reduced. At the same time, image quality is supposedly improved. It also offers in-body stabilization, a high-resolution viewfinder, dual card slots, and more. At $2,500 though, it's now one of the most expensive APS-C cameras, with the same price tag as full-frame models like Canon's EOS R6 and the Sony a7 IV. To find out if it's worth that and how it stacks up against rivals, keep watching. The X-H2S looks and feels a bit different from XT cameras. It's larger and heavier than the X-T4, though at 660 grams it's a touch lighter than the X-H1. It has a much bigger grip as well that imparts a feeling of stability. That makes sense for a camera designed for speed, as you're more likely to attach big lenses for sports or wildlife shooting. The layout is also more like mirrorless cameras from Canon and Sony. Rather than dials for shutter speed, exposure compensation, and ISO like the X-T4, it has conventional front and rear dials. Up top is a mode selector, and behind you have a joystick and D-pad control. And as with the X-H1, it has a top LCD that shows primary settings. I like the handling and layout, but I know many Fujifilm fans prefer the traditional dials. The X-H2S uses the same nice menu system as the X-T4, so settings are relatively easy to find. For viewing your subjects, the news is all good. It has a high-resolution, fully articulating touch display that controls everything but the full menu system. And the EVF gives you blackout-free burst shooting with an excellent 5.76 million dot resolution. It's got all the ports and I/O you need too, including a high-speed USB-C port with power delivery, plus Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for camera control or transfers. Video users, meanwhile, get both microphone and headphone ports, along with a nice full-sized HDMI jack for external recording. To handle the extra speed and video capabilities, it has a pair of card slots, both UHS-2 and high-speed CFexpress. And finally, battery life is very good for its category, allowing up to 720 shots on a charge and well over 2 hours of 4K 30p recording. The X-H2S can do blackout-free shooting faster than any other APS-C camera, albeit with some caveats. To start with, it can do 15 frame per second bursts with a mechanical shutter, matching Canon's EOS R7 and Fujifilm's own X-T4. In electronic mode, it goes all the way up to 40 frames per second, but it will only hit those speeds in release priority mode, so it's not a realistic mode for action shooting. Dialing down to 30 frames per second, I got far more shots in focus, and it gave me a nearly perfect hit rate at 20 frames per second. I could capture upwards of 300 shots to a fast CFexpress card, which is well over 10 seconds of shooting. That's right up there with sports-centric cameras like Canon's EOS R3. The X-H2S is Fujifilm's first camera with bird and animal tracking, and can also follow cars, motorcycles, bikes, airplanes, and trains. This is a nice addition and worked fairly well, though it seemed to depend on shooting angle and other factors. Luckily, face and eye tracking is the best I've ever seen on any Fujifilm camera. It tracks smoothly and tenaciously, giving you more shots in focus. It also did a good job of getting the subject's eye, rather than their eyelashes or nose, in focus. Overall, I'd rate AF on the X-H2S as very good, but not quite up to Sony and Canon's standards. The stacked sensor's rapid speeds means it has minimal rolling shutter in silent mode, so you can use it even for birds, wildlife, and other fast-moving subjects. That being said, the mechanical shutter is very quiet and one of the sweetest sounding ones out there. The in-body stabilization is also good for photos, delivering sharp shots at relatively low shutter speeds. However, it doesn't work as well for video, as I'll detail shortly. The X-H2S offers very similar image quality to the X-T4, so it's among the best APS-C cameras for color rendition. Everything looks natural whether you're shooting landscapes, animals, or people. JPEGs look good straight out of the camera, and Fuji has slightly tweaked the formula so there's a better balance between sharpening and noise reduction. High ISO performance is also very good, much like the X-T4. Noise is reasonably well controlled, and details are preserved up to about ISO 6400, and usable shots are possible at ISO 12800. As ever, you get a range of useful JPEG film simulations like Velvia, black and white Acros, and desaturated Eterna. These are well designed and produce professional looking results, and the original image data is preserved in the RAW file. The X-H2S is easily the most advanced APS-C mirrorless camera for video. You can shoot 6.2K 30p 3x2 video, downsampled 4K at up to 60 frames per second, ultra slow-mo 120 frame per second 4K, and 240 frame per second HD. Many of those modes are available in a variety of codecs, most with 10-bit capture. Those include H.264 and H.265, along with 3 flavors of ProRes. You can shoot video using Fujifilm's F-Log and new F-Log 2 formats to max out dynamic range. And you can output RAW video to both Blackmagic and Atomos recorders in B-RAW and ProRes RAW formats. The 6.2K 3x2 video might seem weird, but it does allow for some creative cropping. 4K up to 60 frames per second is extremely sharp thanks to the downsampling. 120 frame per second 4K is cropped, so it's not quite as sharp, but it's still very good. Dynamic range is exceptional, exceeding 13 stops when shooting with F-Log 2. Combined with the 10-bit capture and robust ProRes codecs, you'll have plenty of room for creative color correction or to fix shots. As with photos, color reproduction favors accuracy with pleasant skin tones that aren't quite as warm as Canon's. Rolling shutter is very minimal in most video modes thanks to the extremely fast sensor readout speeds. It's a bit worse in F-Log 2 mode, but even then it's far better than rival cameras like the Canon EOS R7 or Sony a6600. What about overheating? The only time it's really an issue is with 4K 120p video. That's really an edge case though, and if it's an issue for you, Fujifilm has an optional external fan you can plug in under the display. While improved from the X-T4, autofocus isn't as good as those rival Canon and Sony models, however. The good news though is that human face and eye tracking was quite reliable. Another downside is the in-body stabilization. If you're just hand-holding the camera and not moving much, you do get very steady shots. But anytime you try to pan and tilt, let alone walk, it has a tendency to jolt suddenly from one position to another. So for that reason, it's not the best vlogging camera. Despite some small downsides, the X-H2S is easily the most powerful APS-C camera available right now. As the only model with a stacked sensor, it easily beats all Canon, Nikon, and Sony models in terms of performance and video capabilities. At $2,500 though, it's also the most expensive mainstream APS-C camera. Is it worth it? That's a tough one because for that kind of money, many people might choose a full-frame camera like Canon's EOS R6 or the Sony a7 IV. At the same time, many Fujifilm enthusiasts may be turned off by the lack of mechanical dials. It's far more versatile than any previous Fujifilm camera though. It's still great for street photography, but the extra speed makes it far better for things like wildlife shooting and sports. And it actually beats a lot of full-frame cameras like the a7 IV and EOS R6 in terms of video capability. For hybrid shooters that do a wide variety of photo and video work, this could be the perfect camera, particularly if you've already got Fujifilm lenses. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And for more on technology, check out Engadget.com.